It tells you that. Some things, everything is not, you're not going to be able to answer everything. Especially since he's, king. That's why I tell you in Ecclesiasticus, the 3rd chapter, the 21st verse. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, 3rd chapter, 21st verse. Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. Isn't that what he's saying? Psalm 131 and 1. Most High, my heart is not haughty, I'm not prideful, nor are mine eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. That's why it says, seek not out the things that are too hard for thee. Ecclesiasticus 3 and 21. Neither search the things that are above thy strength. That's what he's saying. Or in things too high for me. You see? Some things are above your strength. Too high for you. But what is commanded thee, think upon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. See? So I say, be not curious in unnecessary matters, some that don't have nothing to do with you, being nosy, in other words. For more things are showed unto thee than men understand. That's why you look at all the things, different topics that's been showed to you, it's more than a lot of men understand. Here we go. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion. See? On worthless thinking. And an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. See? Evil comes in. Many are deceived by their own vain and worthless opinion. That's why he said, I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters. He's not going into great matters or in things too high for him. See? He ain't doing that. Because many are deceived by their own vain opinion. He can come up with opinion for everything. He the king. Couldn't he? But some things he said, hey, he give it to somebody else. You got to have the humility to be able to know that, hey, you got to deal with someone else on this matter. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, worthless thinking, and an evil suspicion overthrowing their judgment. That's why I say, without eyes, without seeing what you're supposed to see, thou shalt want light. You're going to want to know what's right. That light, just be able to see, be illuminated by knowing this Bible, the word of the Most High, his law, statutes, commandments, which is the light, Proverbs 6 and 23. Get that right quick. So you see this light, Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law of the Most High, who wrote these laws with the finger of the Most High, is light. You see, moral laws, civil laws, dietary laws, ceremonial laws, and he gave us sacrificial laws, which we know that when the Mashiach Shai was hung on the tree, that the law of sacrifice was done away with. Even when he died on the tree, the temple was rent in half, where they were sacrificing animals and so forth. Rent in half, they ain't sacrificed no more. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. You see? So, once again, we got to understand. It said, without eyes, in Ecclesiastes 3:25, thou shalt want light. Without eyes, meaning you in darkness. Without eyes, close your eyes. You don't have no eyes. Without eyes, thou shalt want light. If you're in darkness, you want to be able to see, right? You want light. And the light is what? For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. You see how the Bible answers itself. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Don't be talking about nothing that you don't know what you talking about. That's what he said. Don't be talking about something you don't know what you're talking about. Deal with what it is that you do know. If you don't know, hey, like David said, look, this is King David. What did he say? Psalms 131:1. Most High, my heart is not haughty, nor mine eyes lofty. That means he ain't trying to be prideful at all. Before the Most High, he's praying to the Most High, telling them this. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters. See, I ain't dealing with great matters or in things too high for me. Things that I really don't understand. It's too high for him. That's humility. You see? Surely I have behaved and quieted myself. As a child that is weaned of his mother, my soul is even as a weaned child. See? He said his soul is like a little baby, weaned from the breast of his mother. To that degree, this mighty man that bent a bar of steel with his bare hands and took the sheep out of a lion in the bear mouth, played with them. Still had humility. Psalms 141. Psalms 141 in verse 5. He said, let the righteous smite me. It shall be a kindness. And let him reprove me. It shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head, for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. See? That's humility. Psalms 144. Verse 3. O Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, what is man that thou takest knowledge of him? Or the son of man that thou makest account of him? See? That's humility. What is man? He's a man that thou takest knowledge of him. Who is man that you're going to take, most likely going to take knowledge of him? Or the son of man that thou makest account of him? Man is like to vanity. Nothing. His days are as a shadow that passes away. Man is like to vanity. He's like a shadow that passes away. See a shadow and you don't see it no more. Look at 1 Kings 3 and 7. 1 Kings 3 and 7. Going into King Solomon. First Kings 3rd chapter, verse 7. First Kings 3 and 7. And now, O Most High, my power, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father. Solomon's the next king. The Most High made Solomon king instead of his father David. And I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. So I'm just a little child. I don't know how to go out and come in. And that servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen, a great people. Talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Because all 12 tribes were under King David, and all 12 tribes were under King Solomon, his son, when he started to reign. That's what he said. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people, that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart, an understanding mind, to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. He just wanted the mind to be able to judge the people, that he could discern between good and bad. But who is able to judge this thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Most High, that Solomon had asked this thing. He could ask for anything. This is what it said, what the Most High said. And the Most High said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Just please the Most High. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart. Solomon wrote a whole lot of this Bible with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Behold, I have done according to thy words, he said. It's from the Most High to Solomon, King Solomon. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart. Heart is your mind, the way you think. So that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. No king. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked. So let you know the Most High know your spirit. He know you, how you are. He said, I'm giving you what you haven't asked for. Both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. He said, and if thou wilt walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. And Solomon woke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Most High, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. See? So then, he started to be, dealing with the judgment that the Most High gave him the wisdom to be able to judge from that point on. That's King Solomon, you see? But he got wicked in his old age and not following the laws of the Most High and allowing these strange women of these other nations to turn him away from the Most High, who came to him twice and say, stop doing this, Solomon. He made altars and temples to worship their gods. Because it tells you in Psalms 96:5, for all the gods of the nations are idols. This is what he did. He worshiped these strange gods of these other women's nation. You see? These Gentile nations, these women that he got with, the Most High said we're not supposed to get with the Gentile women. He gave every man his woman to procreate and create their nation. See? So that's what we're looking at. Second Chronicles, the first chapter, looking at King Solomon. Humility, y'all. It's got to be this balance. Second Chronicles 1 and 10. He said, give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. But who can judge this thy great people, thy people? That is so great. And the Most High said it to Solomon, because this was in thine heart, it was in your mind, and thou hast not asked riches, same thing, wealth or honor, nor the life of thine enemies, neither yet hast asked long life, but hast asked wisdom and knowledge for thyself, that thou mayest judge my people, over whom I have made thee king. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee, and I will give thee riches and wealth and honor, such as none of the kings have had that have been before thee, neither shall there any after thee have the like. I mean, they're still looking for King Solomon's mines and so forth. So, Let you know. This humility. Looking at our answers, he didn't ask for the things that the Most High gave him. He just wanted wisdom and knowledge and understanding to be able to judge the people. 2 Chronicles 2 and 6. But who was able to build him an house? Who able to build the Most High a house? Seeing the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain him. Hear that? That's the Most High. He said, who's able to build the Most High house? Because you know, you hear people say, oh, the God is up in here. But he say, hey, and you in the temple. Most High don't dwell in temples made with hands. So it says, he said, who can be able to build the Most High house? He said, seeing the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain him. Who am I then? Listen at this closely. Who am I then that I should build him an house, save only to burn sacrifice before him? See? Say, who am I? Sound familiar? Didn't King David, his father, say the same thing to the Most High? Who am I? Who are you? Who am I? Before the Most High. Second Samuel's, Second Chronicles, Second Samuel's 9, the 9th chapter, and verse 8. And he bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? Start at verse 7. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. Say, he saved Saul's son. Look at verse 6. It was, his grandson. See, now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was coming to David, he fell on his face and did reverence. He worshiped David, gave respect to David. And David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, behold, thy servant. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for David thy father's sake. You see, remember David and Jonathan, Saul's son was, they say they love compares the love of a woman, as far as them being together, not no homosexual or anything of that nature, just that caring, like the Bible is telling you in John, he's mainly spiritually telling you about how we got to love thy neighbor as thyself. We got to love each other. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. So you will be all right. I'm going to take care of you and restore all that land back to you. And he bowed himself. See this humility? He bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? He said, what is thy servant, that thou should look upon a dead dog as I am? Then the king called the Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertaineth to Saul and to all his house. Thou therefore and thy sons and thy servants shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread also at my table. So he's going to eat with me. at my table. Now Zilpah had 15 sons and 20 servants. See? So you see how he took care of Saul's son. But you hear what Saul's son said in verse 8. And he bowed himself before King David and said, what is thy servant? Who am I? Same thing, right? That thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? Wow. Look who he was, though. Go back to 2 Samuel 9 and look at verse 1. It says, and David said, is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? That was his partner, Saul's son Jonathan. Is there anybody left of Saul's family that I may show kindness to them for Jonathan's sake? Not for Saul's sake, because he wanted to kill him. And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto him, art thou Ziba? And he said, thy servant is he. That's who I am. And the king said, is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of the Most High unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet. You see? He was lame on his feet. Same one that said in verse 8, and he bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? That's humility. He was lame on his feet. David said he would give all the land that Saul had, Jonathan, his father. And the king said unto him, where is he? And Zippah said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of Michal, and the son of Amiel in Lodabar. Then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Michal, the son of Amiel from Lodabar. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was coming to David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, behold, thy servant. And David said unto him, fear not, for I am surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake. He thinking, man, he know that his grandfather was trying to kill David, King Saul. So he don't know what kind of way he gonna come at him. And he lame on his feet too. And David said to him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father. And thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. Say, you're going to eat with me. Everybody going to work for him. He said, I'm going to lift you up. Don't worry about nothing. You're going to eat with me continually. And he bowed himself, see, and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? That's humility. Okay, look at 1 Kings 21. 1 Kings 21st chapter. Ahab. And Ahab was married to that wicked Jezebel. Look at 1 Kings 21st chapter Let's look at what the Most High told our prophet Elijah to tell him. Start at verse 17. And the word of the Most High came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, northern tribes, which is in Samaria, northern Israel. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whether he is gone down to possess it. All right. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus say the Most High, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus said the Most High, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick the blood, lick thy blood, lick your blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Most High. See, the Most High is all righteous. Now, when you do evil, the Most High recognizes it. So that's when that evil won't come to you, because you draw that evil to you. Thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Most High. Remember, the Most High's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and the secret things. Behold, I will bring evil upon ye. Since you want to be evil, he said, I'm going to bring evil upon thee. This is why we get an understanding here. And will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisses against the wall, every man, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. It will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah. For the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin. So I'm going to get you. In other words, he said, I'm going to get you for the evil that you've done, and you made Israel to sin. The northern tribes to sin just like Jeroboam made them sin by making them two calves and say, this is who brought us out of Egypt. In idolatry. This is what he said about his wife Jezebel. And of Jezebel also spake the Most High, saying, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. So the dog's going to eat your wife up, Jezebel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat. And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. So they died of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat. And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. You're going to have the birds eat them up. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Most High, whom Jezebel, his wife stirred up. See, that's the first thing. What? He was listening to his wife, Jezebel, stirred up, right? That's why the Most High told Adam what? In Genesis 3, he was fooled by Eve, but what the Most High told Adam? In Genesis 3:17, when the serpent came to Eve and told her, you're not surely going to die. You eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. First lie ever told. It's what the Most High told Adam. She brought it to Adam. Adam knew, and she knew that they weren't supposed to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's what he told Adam. That's why you got to hear this. Make the right decision according to the word of the Most High. Genesis 3:17. And unto Adam he said, I'm only here because, what we just read, because thou hast hearkened, listened unto the voice of thy wife in doing evil. Let her stir him up to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, when he knew that was wrong. And as eaten of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Now, I was just here to show you that it says, verse 17, the judgment to Adam. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened, listened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed be the ground for thy sake. So here we go here. That's already known. These are the things that we got to think about as we live our life to see what works and what doesn't work. Here we go again. Going back to 1 Kings 21. Verse 25. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Most High, whom Jezebel, his wife, stirred up. See? He allowed his wife to stir him up to be wicked, to be evil, to do the evil. That's why he say, look. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites. Where the Most High killed all these 7 nations mightier than us. Say don't follow none of these. So he said us in Jeremiah 10:2, learn not the way of the heathen, but he followed all the idols according to all things as did the Amorites. See, the Most High gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to go by. But he followed the idols of the Amorites, whom the Most High cast out before the children of Israel. When you read Deuteronomy 7 chapter down, he gives all these different nations that he cast out to give us their land. He said, don't learn the ways of the heathen. Don't learn their gods. Don't follow their gods. Just all you need is me. Over and over again. That's what you're hearing in this Bible. Is all we need is the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we chose some other way until this day. And it came to pass when Ahab heard these words that he rent his clothes. He's changing now. He's trying to repent, right? He rent his clothes. That's in humility. And put sackcloth upon his flesh. Put sackcloth on his flesh. And fasted. Stop eating. Stop drinking. Fasting. And lay in sackcloth. Burlap. And went softly. Tiptoe. Went softly. Ain't no pride in this. And the word of the Most High came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, listen to this. Seeing thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? How did he humble himself? Verse, like it says, verse 27. And it came to pass when Ahab heard these words, he heard what Elijah told him, that he rent his clothes, he tore his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, burlap, rags upon his flesh, and fasted before the Most High, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. You see? And the word of the Most High came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, seeing thou how Ahab humbleth himself? So he humbled himself before me, before the Most High. I'm like I say, where you going to run that the Most High not going to see you? Where you can run from the sky? That there's no sky, no matter how far you go down in the ground. They might have your bunkers, wherever. But when you come up out of there, the Most High is going to be right there. And when you go down there, he's going to be right there. Because he created everything. Like when my Messiah come back, he going to say, they down there. They got these bunkers way under in the ground. He going to say, he told me, holes of the rocks and so forth. He know all that. He made it. You think he can't dissolve it? That's why he said he's going to dissolve this place and create a new heaven and a new earth. Think about it. Ain't going to be no more sea.